So we have about 3 feet of 300-pound test braided line that goes to a very good ball bearing swivel, so that way in the river current our bait and our line doesn't get kinked. Then a red bead, which protects this knot, and then a slider, which is what we're going to hook our lead to, and another red bead on top, which keeps us from pulling that slider into the first guide on the rod and breaking the rod tip. So now we're going to hook up our herring, and this is normal, this is pickled herring. And what I like to do, and everybody has a different way of doing it, is I'll hook him in the back of the head here. I'll bring my hook out through his mouth, and I'll tuck my hook in just like that. Cover the jar so we don't have any accidents. Then I do a series of half hitches down the body. First half hitch is going to be as close to the hook knot as possible. That way we keep things nice and tight to the bait. Then I'm going to run another series of half hitches down. And we're going to wrap him up like a little Christmas present. And what this does is it orients the bait into a backwards attitude and keeps the bait from spinning around down on the bottom of the river. Because if the bait spins around, the sturgeon, who's a bottom feeder, has a hard time kind of sucking the bait in. And so I use a short leader, and as you can see how short it got right now, it's going to keep this thing close to the bottom so the sturgeon can get it. Then a little trick that I like to do, so I will cut this tail off, and that way it stops this thing from spinning around on the bottom. And some guys will actually come in here and they'll cut these gill plates so the gills don't flare out and cause the bait to spin. Okay, next thing I'll do is I'll pull the rod out of the rod holder, and I'll hook a small, this is a 10 ounce, the current here isn't that bad, so I'm going to hook a 10 ounce cannonball to my clip, make sure everything is good to go. And now you can see that because this thing is so short on the bottom, the bait will kind of be oriented like this. If the leader was too long, this thing would spin. And we want to keep it as close to the lead so it doesn't do that as possible. Now all that's left to do is to kind of reel this up, make sure my tip isn't tangled, open her up, and just kind of let her go a little bit. Now as it sinks, I'm thumbing the spool to keep the bait downriver, the current's running that way so it doesn't get all tangled. Once it hits the bottom, that's it. Close the lever, set the pawl, rod in, wash the rod tip. So now that we have our rods in the water, sometimes you get lucky and you're parked right over the top of sturgeon, you drop it down and they'll bite it. Catch fish right from the get-go. But normally what happens is I'll have to, after throwing the rods in and letting the bait sit, the scent travels downriver, and the sturgeon will follow that scent upriver to the herring, and then we'll start getting some bites. So it usually takes a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes maybe sometimes to get on them. Sometimes you can sit here all day and not get a single bite, so it's hit or miss. It's hard to predict, but you won't know until you try. So. Usually if the bite's really light and you try to pick it up and set the hook on them, you'll never be able to do it. So I normally just let it sit, and I can tell for the day how it's going to go. If the fish hit it violently, then I might set the hook, pull the rod, and try to set hooks after that. If they're just going to sit here and play around with it for a little while, I let them hook themselves. But if the bite's real finicky and I keep yanking hooks out of their mouth, I have less and less chance of hooking one. I have a better chance when they're finicky to let them hook themselves. So, this one I don't think he's a very big one. He just was playing with it. So what happens is once you get one on, then the other person gets up and reels up the other rod. And then when you're fighting them, you want to go to the back of the boat. Oh, he's on. Yep.
Oh yeah, he's on it. Up a little.
Is he very big?
I don't know.
Nope. I'll just leave this rod in if he's not there any big.
Yeah.
Watch out for his razor scoots, yeah?
Yeah, it's like a sharp. Got one.
That's all she wrote. That's how you catch a sturgeon. It's on. You better go get him.
I don't know. Does I have him? Oh yeah. Oh, he's still on. Ooh, I see the weight. There he is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What? You done? What? That's it? That's a good hook. Oh, barely hooked. Look at that.
Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
Here. Ready? Hold the head towards me. Fight.
Big fish, big. Big.
I think it's time to go.
It was a good day.
Good day. A little slow at times, but we ended up with 6 fish. No keepers. Not as many as, catching 18 or 19 in a day, but still had fun. No one was out here. Well, we see one boat. Saw one boat right here next to us, but another boat, one other boat all day long, and that was it. So,
What would you say the size that we caught? 15, 20 pounds?
yeah, I would guess somewhere around 50 inches. A little short on a keeper size, but they still gave you a good fight.
Yeah. And our keeper size was anywhere from 53 to 63 inches.
Yeah. So, sometimes you'll catch the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 footers. Sometimes, a lot more often than not, you'll catch a lot of these little smaller ones, But it's a good thing, because when you hook a really big one, they kind of wear you out for a little while, or me anyway. I'm an old man. So.
It looks easy what we're doing. Like we're just throwing fish into the water down to the bottom, but as he's been telling me, there's lots of little things that go into it. Lots of little things that you need to think of that it's a little bit more difficult than it looks.
Yeah, but
this is a great time, and you can make it as complicated as we want it,
Beautiful country. It's remote. Not a lot of people, not a lot of noises up here. It's just peace and quiet. God's country, gorgeous. You can't beat it. So, good day.
Good day.
Keep surviving. You keep surviving.